Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're doing our Week 11 rankings shows. We got quarterbacks and running backs today, Jeff. We're going to go through all of these players, and we're just going to jump right into it again. If you guys want to know where to find us, check out the notes. You can find us at all those different spots. All right, Jeff. Number one quarterback for this week. Who'd you go with?
Going tried and true, my friend. I'm going Carson Wentz.
Okay. Good old Carson Wentz, number one. He's been playing like it lately, and I did too. I actually went Carson Wentz number one this week as well, which I had to think about it a little bit. I didn't know if I wanted to go Carson Wentz or if I wanted to go with my number two player, who's Russell Wilson. I decided to go Wentz over Wilson this week, and he's been great. Not much else to say about it. He's been great every week. You're playing him no matter what. You don't even have to worry about if you have him on your team where we rank him because you're going to play him. So what's your rest of your top five?
Right. After that, I got Tommy Brady. I got Russell Wilson, who's been, the gunslinger of the group. Alex Smith comes at number four. Gotta appreciate the points he's been putting up. And then number five, I went Dak Prescott, who has been wonderful all year. And I think he has a little more reason to throw the ball. So I think he could even be in line for a little bit of a bump up. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I went very similar, but I went Wilson 2, so Brady was 3. I went Alex Smith 4, and I went Dak 5.
Oh.
So we're right there together with that. And Dak had a down week last week. Not too concerned about it. I think he's going to be fine. I think he'll bounce back. It's just that happens sometimes after the bad game. I'm not really concerned about it. And the way the Giants have been playing, I think Alex Smith should have a good game against the Giants. Look at C.J. Beathard just did to him. Why is Alex Smith not going to have a good game? This is going to be, I think, a good one for him. And Tom Brady, he's a top 3 guy every week, so going against Oakland should be a good game. But Wentz and Wilson have been outplaying him right now, so that's why he's going to drop a little for me. But I can still see him being number 2. All right, I'll go rest of my top 10 here. My number 6 is Matthew Stafford this week, going against Chicago. 7, I go Drew Brees. Then I go Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff rounds out my top 10, even going against Minnesota.
All right, we think very, very alike, so we can rush through mine as well because just a little bit different. But Drew Brees, number 6, I like tried and true. Matthew Stafford has been playing real well. Chicago, like you said. Derek Carr actually does make mine as well. He's going against a pitiful secondary in New England, or they've been giving up a ton. But, you just hope that Carr kind of bounces back after him kind of getting his feet under him finally after the injury. But Kirk Cousins is at number 9 as well, even though he's going against a New Orleans team who has at times been pretty stingy. And then Jared Goff going against Minnesota, but he's been playing really, really well. Yeah. So I give him the top 10 nod. And, you hope that the young guy can do it against a good defense, but who knows?
The way he's been playing, I don't see why he can't. So I'm going to trust him right now. It's weird to say I'm trusting Jared Goff, but I kind of am. And I expect another good game from him. And then the rest of these guys, I go with Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Mariota. Don't really like some of these matchups. Matt Ryan is playing on the road at Seattle, and he really hasn't been terribly impressive. He's just been kind of okay. I don't expect too much from him. And even Roethlisberger, with a great matchup last week of the Colts, he really didn't do a lot in that kind of an okay game. Should have had a lot more. And he has the Thursday night. Later in the year, I feel like the Thursday night games get harder and harder when they've had less rest and more injuries. It's tougher to come back from these and play on Thursday nights. So I don't know if I expect a lot from Roethlisberger as well. So any other players we talked about on our waivers, some of the streaming options. So if you want to hear some of those, what we think, you can go back and check that one out. But not a lot of good players here that I'm terribly excited about down here.
No, and I think the only one that I might have a little bit higher, because you named a lot of the guys that were about to be there, but I do have Eli Manning that actually sneaks up to 12th this week just because he has a very good matchup, and I like what I saw of him throwing to Ingram and Shepard. So I put him up there. He hasn't done a whole lot in the last few games, but I felt like last week he started to look a little better. So especially with those other guys going against very difficult defenses, I kind of liked Eli for a sneaky pick.
Yeah, they're going to basically throw the ball to Shepard all the time. So if you can get on the same page with that, it could be pretty decent. So wait and see. The team's been pretty bad though. So yeah. All right, I'm going to go right to running backs because that quarterbacks to me is just kind of you have your guy and you're playing it. There really isn't too much of a decision, I think, at quarterback. Running backs where there's more of decisions to be made. So we can go check out running backs here.
All right, give me your top 5 on this one.
number one, even though it is the Thursday night, I'm not too worried. Le'Veon Bell, my number one guy. Number two this week, Mark Ingram. I'm all the way up at number two. The way he's been playing since Peterson was traded is just unbelievable. Then I go Gurley, Fournette, and Kareem Hunt, number 5.
All right. I did not. I mean, Ingram is, he's not in my top 5, but I'm giving him love. But that is a high prediction for him. So I have Bell, number 1 as well. I have McCoy. Love the matchup. I know he's been up and down, but you gotta love what he brings to the table. Todd Gurley, even going against Minnesota, that offense, he has been so wonderful. Kareem Hunt, going against the Giants, I like him at number 4. And then I have Leonard Fournette going against Cleveland. He didn't look, that offense didn't look that great last week, but I think they get it back in line, and he probably gets into the end zone as well at number 5.
Yeah, I think, and all these guys are good options.
Yeah, obviously.
They're all great. It's like you're not going to, I have McCoy 6. He's right there too for me. But I really like Mark Ingram a lot right now. He's been, I think, since the Peterson trade, I think he's the number 1 back in the league right now. So, and that's even with Kamara getting all the work he's getting. So you can't go wrong with Mark Ingram. I'm just going to pull off some of these games here. I mean, yes, he had that 7.9 last week was his down week. Other than that, since the trade, he's gone, I think, here 25, 17, 11.9, 7.9, 31.1. He's just been really, really impressive. And then Kareem Hunt, I'll say at number 5 here. I kind of want to put him lower because I feel like he hasn't been that great. I mean, since those first 3 games where he just was, ridiculous, he hasn't had anything more than 12.1 in standard since then, which is still good. It's fine. But when you look at his numbers, weeks 4 through 9, it almost feels more like maybe Lamar Miller-like, I want to say, which Lamar Miller has outscored him since then. So he's more of a Lamar Miller type. I think the talent's there. And after giving him 9 carries against Dallas, in going against a poor Giants team, I feel like there's going to be an added emphasis to get him the ball a little more. So that's why I think he's going to stay up there. So I think it'll be a good week for him, but I don't think he's quite the top level. So where did you put Alvin Kamara? I put him 8 last week, and I think I was proven decently right.
Yeah, I have Kamara at number 8.
So do I. 8 again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have Ingram at number 6, actually.
Okay.
And
Gordon 7?
Then Gordon 7,
right.
Then Kamara 8, and then I round out with Howard, and then actually Coleman. Even though they're against Seattle, if Freeman's not going to play, Coleman is the golden ticket here. Whoever has him is going to get, it's really, really good. So I really, really like him no matter what happens there. But just to reiterate the Mark Ingram thing, looking at stats, I do have to say it's very interesting because he tops out, right? In the first 4 weeks when you have AP, you're trying to get everyone touches. He tops out at 14 touches in a game.
Yep.
And then he doesn't go below 16 in the next, 5 games. And he tops out at 25. And every time he gets that many touches, he usually gets touchdowns. He went from 0 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Now he already has, another 7? Or 7 in general? It was just a massive difference. He's getting all the bulk of the work that way, and then Kamara is the one that's coming in and being kind of the dynamic one.
Yeah, and they've turned in they're a running team that plays defense. It's the weirdest thing to think of the Saints as just a run-first team who's going to play good defense and win games, and that's what they are. And until I see something different, these guys are going to be up there. And then actually, I'll say I put Jay Ajayi, number 9. I'm expecting something this week from him. I think he's going to get 15 carries at least, and behind that much better offensive line than he's used to, than he was in Miami. I think it's going to be a good game for Ajayi. So I'm banking on something here with putting him 9. I put Jordan Howard 10. Coleman was 11 for me. So I like Coleman too, because he's going to be, Freeman's out at this point. He's officially, looks like out already. So Coleman should have a good week. If it wasn't Seattle, we'd probably be looking at him a little higher possibly. Just on the road at Seattle, Monday night. It's a tough atmosphere, tough game. I think he's going to have a good one. Then, where did you put Ajayi then?
Number 11.
So he's right there.
Yeah, yep. I really like him. I just, I think he dropped a few spots just because I don't know how many carries he's really going to get. In the limited amount of time he did last week, he looked really, really good. So I expect big things from him, but I also don't know exactly what that workload looks like.
All right, so I'm going to ask, where do you put Jerick McKinnon? Because every week we get told we're ranking Jerick McKinnon too low.
Yeah, and I actually want to keep ranking him lower than I did this week, but I have him 15th.
So do I.
So I think that's a good place to have him. He's going to be up. He's going to be down. It looked like Murray is the one that's going to be the guy that probably gets goal line carries. He's going to get the kind of the first crack at the grind him out yards. Well,
basically the strategy behind this for me is a player like McKinnon, where he's going to have these boom weeks where he's scoring you 20 points or whatever standard wise. He's going to have weeks where he's scoring you 4 or 5 points. So because of players like that, I'm not going to rank him like he's going to score 20, but I'm also not going to rank him like he's going to score 5. I kind of put him in this middle range, which is a middle tier running back too. That's what he is. Because the weeks he hits is going to be great, but the weeks he's going to have weeks where he doesn't hit for you. So I can never rank him way up there because it's not a sure thing. It's kind of like when you look at the wide receivers, it's like the Brandon Cooks, the Tyreek Hills, those kind of guys are going to have big weeks and down weeks. So I'm going to keep him at 15. Call it good. Any other players that stand out around this range here in the middle, the 10 to 20 range here that maybe you don't normally have, or is it just the same old, same old?
I mean, they're not unusual names, right? So Chris Thompson came in at number 17 for me. He's always interesting. Yeah. Darkwa was 16th, which I tend not to like.
I don't like Darkwa.
Yeah.
I have him at 25th.
Do you? He's been okay. And like you look at other people down there, Deion Lewis has jumped up quite a bit. And then Alfred Morris is, right at 20, just until I see exactly how that thing, comes about. But no, I think it's kind of these same people. It's just kind of a cluster, and I don't feel necessarily strong about any one of them over the other. So I don't have any bold predictions down here, honestly.
I don't. You? No, not really. Crowell's starting to inch up. He's up to 20 for me. Even going against Jacksonville has been pretty tough defensively. Crowell's had a couple good games in a row, and plus, out of the guys on here, he's one of the few that's actually doing something. I put him one spot ahead of C.J. Anderson, who I put at 21 because C.J. Anderson, it's not C.J. Anderson, it's that Broncos offense has been terrible. That's where the worry comes in. And the way they've been playing, they get down in games and they can't use him. So I worry about him there. So I'm just going to stay away. And I put Alfred Morris 19 because I think the volume's going to be there. I'm not too worried about this past game. I think he's going to be fine. I think he had a decent game. And then after this, there's a lot of guys that I don't know what to do with. I don't know what to do with Alex Collins. I don't know if he's going to have a bounce back after, have a bye week. Jamal Williams from Green Bay. Where did you put Jamal Williams? Thinking that Montgomery, I'm going to, maybe Montgomery's out, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if he's out quite yet, but I have Jamal Williams at 31 right now.
So do I. Yeah. I'm right at 31.
So he's kind of out in no man's land. He's one that will change closer to the date. I really have to know what's going to happen.
Honestly, I don't even know if I'd move him up that much.
I wouldn't, but Montgomery would obviously jump way up.
If Montgomery was healthy and playing, Montgomery's going to jump up probably to around top 20, I would almost think.
He'd be
right?
my top 20, yeah. He looked really good before he got hurt.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm going to go with him there. Yeah, a lot of these guys, there's no sure things down here. It's not terribly exciting. I don't know what to do with Marshawn Lynch. He's had some good weeks and mostly poor weeks. I put him at 24. Deion Lewis was my 23rd. Joe Mixon, 22 for me. So these kind of guys, hope you don't have to play them. I hope your team's worked out where you have 3 in the top 20.
Actually, I do. What did you do? 2 guys that I'm interested with that I kind of went lukewarm on. Actually, maybe they're a bit high, but Adrian Peterson, who has been inconsistent ever since he went to Arizona, but he gets a lot of carries. What do you do with him, and what do you do with DeMarco Murray after he blew up for 3 touchdowns?
They're actually 13 and 14 for me, Peterson and Murray, because there's no player that's going to get the kind of work that Peterson's going to get. But this is, again, another situation where he's going to have some great weeks and some nothing weeks, so I have to try to hit a middle ground. I can't rank him like he's going to have 150 yards rushing every game, so I'm going to put him 13. And then Murray, there's a lot of touchdown potential there. It's not necessarily the yards, and Henry's getting a lot of work too. But when you get down here, you need a guy who has some potential to do something. Maybe a little bit more. He's going to get yards and touchdowns possibly. And the guys below him, I just not that. Amir Abdullah, Doug Martin, like those guys. Doug Martin, I put him in my top 20 actually at 18, but he's worrying me. If I see one more bad week from him where he's getting 20 carries for 50 yards, 60 yards, he's going to be dropping down quite a bit for me. I think 25 to 30 range. I don't know. Where'd you put Martin this week?
Yeah, Martin's 24 for me.
Yeah. See, he's getting a lot of volume, but he hasn't put together a big week like Peterson kind of.
And even someone like Amir Abdullah, who has had 2 pretty decent weeks back to back, but he's gotten in the end zone. He hasn't gotten a lot of yardage yet. So even though he's been doing pretty well for people, I'm kind of afraid of him. Even though he's going against a relatively good schedule, I just don't think he can keep up the touchdowns.
No, and that's the thing. A lot of these guys, it's a ugly situation. I feel like this running back, it's especially now not having Zeke. There's no David Johnson. Like we've lost a lot of players. No Freeman, Zeke, Johnson. I think if you have those three guys that jump in there, how much different the list looks. In these, you'd have more like Lamar Miller should be 15 to 20, and you'd be happy with it.
Yeah, and maybe I missed this one. I know we were kind of getting back on the Crowell bandwagon. Not like he's gonna be huge, but what do you have?
I had 20.
20, okay, because he is going against Jacksonville, so I just wondered.
I still put him. I think he's been better. So
yeah,
I mean, yes, Jacksonville's great. They've been great, but they are great. But yeah, it's not like some historic shutdown defense either.
No,
you know what I mean?
But it is going against a running back or team, I should say, that struggles
it does.
already. So
it's just the players after him.
Yeah,
not excited about. I really don't have much else, Jeff. When we get to the rankings this time of year, it's kind of who you're playing for the most part. Especially when you get further past bye weeks, there's a few players out this week, but you're not missing a lot right now.
No, I think the ones that you should keep an eye on, first of all, is obviously figuring out what the hell is going on in Green Bay. So that'll be a big one. And then after that, I think the people that have, jumped up on the list, obviously Drake people are going to be looking at, but really it's the Patriots running backs. Deion Lewis, Burkhead, those guys are creeping up to me. And, and if Latavius Murray can keep getting in the end zone, he's actually viable nowadays.
Yeah, he's interesting. Murray, if I see another week from him where he's getting a lot of work, he's going to probably jump up a little higher for me. I still don't trust it. I don't know why. I still trust McKinnon about 10 spots higher, but just not excited.
I did the exact same thing. If he doesn't get in the end zone, I have a feeling, you're going to get 50 yards out of him maybe, and that's when you'll grind him out.
All right, I feel like this was a little shorter ranking show today.
Yeah, well,
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
I think you kind of know what you're getting from a lot of these players. It's been a weird year where there's there's some top end running backs that have been good for the most part every week, but no one is just like a plug them in sure thing almost every week. Even Bell's Bell has been Gurley. Other than that, because McCoy's been down, Gordon's been down, Ingram has been great now, but he wasn't obviously to start. Fournette's been down.
Hunt's been
struggling
a little bit.
There's not as many, I feel like, just sure things. Like last year you had Johnson and Bell and Zeke, and McCoy. You had like 4 guys last year that you're just like, boom, you're going to have a big week. With now, it's pretty much Bell right now, we know for sure, and that's might be it. I don't trust a lot of it. It's strange this year with that, but
yeah, it's sad that I trust Ingram and Kamara more than I trust.
I do too.
Two backs on one team more than I trust, say, even a Hunt right now.
I do.
He's been struggling, but he has a great matchup, so I think he will bounce back this week. But you look at the numbers and you kind of see some of these trends, and they may be ranked really high. Like Hunt is one of them. Ranked very, very high in the overall rankings because he had a few big weeks early on, but you see that his numbers have been trailing off a bit.
Yep. All right, I think that'll be it for quarterbacks, running backs. We'll be back tomorrow with wide receivers, tight ends, and wide receivers are even more disappointing than running backs. There's not many. There's definitely not a other than Antonio Brown, wide receivers don't have a sure thing number 1 every week. So we'll talk about that and go over the tight ends on tomorrow's show. We'll talk to you guys then.